Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia. Welcome back to the Overwatch League Roundup 2020 Week 21 preview. So, we're into the final week of regular fixtures for June, and after this we'll be going into obviously the Summer Showdown, which should be really interesting. But obviously we've got a few things to clear up before then, and this week is going to actually be a bumper week. We've got 12 regular fixtures, but there has been a fixture added on to the end of these fixtures, and I have a feeling I know what it is, but they haven't confirmed anything, so that's kind of annoying, Overwatch League, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, we'll talk about that at the end of the video, but let's go through the regular fixtures first of all. Obviously the standings on the left hand side as per usual. We are going to start off at 9 AM BST on Saturday, June the 27th, with Chengdu Hunters taking on the Guangzhou Charge. I wouldn't expect anything but a Guangzhou Charge win here. Chengdu Hunters have not looked up to scratch with any team right now, apart from when they took Shanghai close in the first two matches last week. But Shanghai were rotating their roster at that point and playing some funny stuff, so it was kind of more I don't want to say throwing, but more Shanghai not living up to what they usually are, rather than Chengdu being absolutely fantastic. Chengdu got ripped apart by London in the match before that. Guangzhou Charge, their matches have been close, but they've ground out wins against really good teams. Seoul Dynasty and Hangzhou Spark. Hangzhou Spark beat the New York Excelsior before that match. So I think Guangzhou Charge have got too much quality for the Chengdu Hunters, and I expect Guangzhou Charge to run out with the victory here. And I would hope they would get a 3-0. It's not beyond the Charge here, but Charge do have a tougher game later on this week, so maybe they will concentrate a bit more on that match. But at 11 AM we will see the Seoul Dynasty taking on the Shanghai Dragons, a rematch of the May Melee final for APAC, and yeah, I don't think this is going to be like that match, somehow. The Seoul Dynasty, they need to win this match. They need to win one of their matches this weekend. Because if they don't, they probably will be bottom seed again. Like, or one of the bottom seeds anyway. And they're lucky that the other opponent that they're facing this weekend, we'll go on about that in a minute, but if they could somehow go 2-0, that would be massive for Seoul Dynasty, but I don't see it. I don't see Shanghai losing this. And to be quite honest, if Shanghai did lose this, then that would be a bit of a bummer for them as well. So there's a lot of sides to this, but I would expect Shanghai to win. That's what I would say. But if Shanghai do lose, then it really throws open that first place for the likes of Guangzhou Charge, New York, Hangzhou. They could easily nick that first place away. So yeah, it's very interesting, and it could be quite close depending on what happens in that match. If Guangzhou lose this weekend and Shanghai lose this weekend, then the first place in Asia is blown wide open. And Shanghai have not got easy matches this weekend. This match will not be easy, but I think they will come out on top. But at 1 PM we'll see the Hangzhou Spark taking on London Spitfire. Now, the London Spitfire have only got one match this weekend. One of only two teams in the region to only have one match, them and the New York Excelsior. So, both teams featured twice last week. So, London Spitfire, they've been steadily improving. Over this June batch of fixtures, but Hangzhou Spark are coming off the back of a very good win against the New York Excelsior, where they looked incredibly good, and a narrow loss against the Guangzhou Charge. Plus, they have these new reinforcements of QOQ and Architect alongside Pageant and the coach role. London Spitfire, because this is their only match of the weekend, I expect them to give it a darn good go. But I don't think they've got enough quality to get past this Hangzhou Spark squad. So that means I think London will end on a 1-3 record, just like they did last time out in the May Melee qualification, which means they're not going to get a particularly good seeding, probably. But I wouldn't expect them to be bottom seed. Yeah, so that's a bonus for London. But yeah, that's a difficult one for London. But if London can make it close, like they did against New York, then that'll be a good performance from the Spitfire. And that's all you can ask of this Spitfire squad right now, that is still building and still getting used to things. I still think there's a bright future for them. But at 8 PM, a little bit of gap, we move to the NA region, and we see the Florida Mayhem taking on the Houston Outlaws. The Battle of the Tracers, right? So, Florida Mayhem, they've got Yaki. And the elephant in the room, obviously, this week is the fact that Brigitte and Echo and Diva and Sombra are back. So, Yaki could be playing the Echo if he wanted to. But Florida Mayhem, if it is meta like it was last week, We expect to see Yaki on the Tracer, and we expect to see Dante on the Tracer for Houston Outlaws. Now, Dante was ripping things up for the Houston Outlaws. I gave the Team of the Week spot to Shax because Shax was just crazy against the Mayhem. Now, if Dante can put on a performance against the Mayhem like Shax did, then maybe the Mayhem are on the rocks here. But I still think the Mayhem are going to have too much quality in other areas for this Houston Outlaws squad. The Houston Outlaws DPS aren't bad. Lynx is inconsistent, in my opinion. But Dante is definitely the shining light right now. And the problem is, with the Florida Mayhem, you haven't just got to deal with Yaki, you've got to deal with BQB. You've also got to deal with Gargoyle, who was fantastic against the Los Angeles Valiant as well. The Gangnam Jin as well. Chris will be back on his Brigitte most likely. So I think the Florida Mayhem are going to have too much quality for Houston Outlaws. But the Houston Outlaws could give a good game of it. Now at 10 PM, we will see the Dallas Fuel taking on the Toronto Defiant. Dallas. You lost 3-0 to the Vancouver Titans last week. I think this very much depends on who the Dallas Fuel play. Because if we don't see Decay, I think they lose this. I honestly think they lose this. I think the tank line of Numlocked and Nevix will be able to match Gamsu and Note. And I think that'll be a major part in this. Obviously, Toronto haven't got a too shabby support line either, nor have the Dallas Fuel now. And then it comes down to the DPS. And then without Decay, I think Toronto can match them. The only weak link for Toronto, I would say, is Zik. And that worries me. So it's so difficult because it depends what roster Dallas Fuel go out with. It really, really does. If it's Decay Doha or Decay Onigod, then Dallas Fuel win this, and I think they win this quite easily. But if it's not, if we don't see Decay and we see Onigod and Doha again, I worry for the Fuel. I really, really do. They looked like a shambles last week, to be quite honest. So, I don't know who they're going to play. I'll give the Fuel the benefit of the doubt, but it's a difficult one. At 12 AM, we're moving into obviously midnight now, so we're moving into the Sunday. It's Vancouver Titans taking on the Boston Uprising. The bottom of the battle of the bottom is what I was trying to say. So these teams are two teams that have looked actually on the up recently. Both teams are not in the bottom two for the seeding right now, so that's a plus. But Boston are yet to get a win in June. Vancouver Titans obviously got that really impressive win over the Dallas Fuel. So I honestly think Boston win this. With the improvements I've seen from them, like Boston have played Philadelphia Fusion last week. That's no easy fixture to go against, is it? Come on. And then they played Paris Eternal in the first week of play in June, where they took them really darn close and almost won. So I think this Boston Uprising team can beat this Vancouver Titans team. I think Color Hex is looking better. I think Jerry is looking good as ever. Punk has been a massive addition. They're swapping in Mikey and Fusions. I would stick with Fusions just because of his shot calling and stuff like that. He's still a very good main tank. And I think this Boston Uprising team will get past this Vancouver Titans team probably fairly handily if they can perform like they have been against the likes of the Paris Eternal. So, yeah, I would give Boston the benefit of the doubt and give them a 3-1 win here. I really, really would. But it has potential to be extremely close. At 2 AM, we will see the Washington Justice taking on the Los Angeles Gladiators. Los Angeles Gladiators, no consistency. Absolutely no consistency whatsoever from the Gladiators, considering we saw them lose 3-1 to Houston last week. And yeah, they beat the Atlanta Reign in week 19, but they've also lost to Boston Uprising back in May as well. So Gladiators are looking all over the place right now. Washington Justice, though, well, I mean, you can make an argument for Washington Justice being the worst team in this league right now. So, yeah, it's a rough one. It's a rough one, I'm not going to lie. I should think the Gladiators get a win, but I said that the Gladiators would beat Boston fairly handily in May. So, I'm not going to rule the Washington Justice out of this one, but 3-1 for the Gladiators is what I will say, just because of inconsistency among that Gladiators squad. But hopefully, Kevster and Birdwing have settled in together now, and if they can get them two popping off, they should be alright. But, moving on probably into the Sunday now, 9 AM, we will see the Shanghai Dragons taking on the Hangzhou Spark. So, the Shanghai Dragons have to play Seoul and Hangzhou, which is not easy in one weekend. Hangzhou Spark arguably are the better team than Seoul Dynasty, so this is going to be tough for Shanghai. This is going to be a big, big test this week. They certainly have the quality to get past both of these teams. But can they get past both of them in 1 week? That's my question. So, yeah, this is going to be super duper interesting. Hangzhou, if they can win this and Shanghai don't get a good result, even if it's a 3-2 for the Shanghai Dragons over Seoul Dynasty, Hangzhou Spark could nick the top spot in APAC. But obviously there are other people that are competing for that, like New York Excelsior and Guangzhou Charge, and that will be heavily decided on the Guangzhou Charge New York Excelsior match coming up a little bit later on. But this is going to be super close. This is going to be super close, and Hangzhou Spark were able to beat the New York Excelsior last week, and if they can continue to improve, they really could go toe-to-toe with the Shanghai Dragons squad. I think this is going to be a really testing week for the Dragons, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see them drop one of these games. Now, if I was being logical, I think the one they would drop would be against the Spark. But I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Shanghai lose one of these games this week. I would not be surprised. If Hangzhou can go 2-0 this week against London and Shanghai, that will be a fantastic for the Hangzhou Spark. And it'll be a really big proof of concept that these changes are working for the Spark. To get a win over an improving London squad, a really good Shanghai squad, and a really good New York squad last week, and narrowly lose to Guangzhou Charge, I think you can take that and say, wow, that's really good. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Shanghai drop one of these games, but I don't know. I don't know. A 3-2 for the Spark. Heck it. You know, I'll back them. 11 AM, we will see the Chengdu Hunters taking on the Seoul Dynasty. This should be a win for the Seoul Dynasty, regardless of what happens against Shanghai. Seoul should have enough to see past Chengdu Hunters. But Chengdu have beaten Seoul this season. So, if Seoul go 0-2 this week, they haven't won a match in June, which is not good. And they will almost certainly be the bottom seed going into the Summer Showdown. So we don't want to see that, do we, Seoul? Let's be honest. In fact, actually, you definitely will be, because you're playing Chengdu, and they are the only other team that can be bottom seed at that point, because London have a win on the board, because London beat Chengdu. So whoever loses this match will most likely be bottom seed. That is what I'm saying. So, Seoul, you just need to get the job done, my friends. You just need to get the job done. I know it's a lot to ask from the Seoul Dynasty squad at times, but yeah, just get the job done. At 1 PM, our last APAC match of the regular fixtures in June is New York Excelsior taking on the Guangzhou Charge. Last time this happened, New York lost. So this should be interesting. New York coming back off the loss against the Hangzhou Spark, but a difficult but good win over the London Spitfire. But Guangzhou Charge are coming directly off the win over the Hangzhou Spark, just after the Spark had beaten the NYXL. So Guangzhou, I think a lot of people are sleeping on this Charge squad. They keep saying, well, they look good, but like, are they the best team? I don't know about that. But they're grinding the results. I don't think anyone can deny that. A 3-2 against Seoul last week and a 3-2 against Hangzhou last week means that they are one of the 2 unbeaten teams in APAC right now, alongside the Shanghai Dragons. And I said there is a lot of scope for Shanghai Dragons to lose a match this week. Guangzhou Charge, however, have got to play Chengdu and New York. So as long as they can beat New York, they should have enough to get past Chengdu. So I believe that it's entirely feasible that this Guangzhou Charge squad could go unbeaten again in June. It's not an unreasonable suggestion to say that Guangzhou Charge will be our number 1 seed in APAC again. It's not. And when you look at the results from last week, you have to say that, well, I think they will go 2-0 this week. New York lost to Hangzhou. Guangzhou had enough to beat Hangzhou. So why can't Guangzhou beat New York, considering they're preparing, the other match they're preparing for is Chengdu and not anyone like Hangzhou or even London perhaps or someone like that. It's Chengdu, the worst team in APAC, and I think we can all agree with that right now. So, yeah. It's a difficult one. It's going to be extremely close, I would hope. Like, I wouldn't expect this to be a washout in any way. I am going to back the New York Excelsior, though, because I think they will want to bounce back. And the thing that is obviously a benefit for the New York Excelsior this week is the fact that they're only playing 1 match against Guangzhou. Just like London, where they only play Hangzhou Spark. Whereas Guangzhou Charge, whatever the team they're playing Chengdu, right? But they still have to prepare for that match. And if they don't, they could get surprised. So they still have to divide resources, is what I'm saying. And so I think New York will have that little edge. Not much, but 3-2 for the Excelsior, I think. 8 p.m, going back to NA, we will see Los Angeles Valiant taking on the Paris Eternal. Los Angeles Valiant were mind-blowing last week against the Florida Mayhem. Shax was fantastic, their tank line was fantastic, KSP was fantastic, their supports were fantastic. I have extreme doubts whether they can maintain that level of quality and that level of play. But they don't have to hit that height with the Paris Eternal right now, because Paris Eternal aren't as good as the Florida Mayhem in my opinion, even though that the Paris Eternal have got a lot of good players. Sparkle did not look like he could handle the San Francisco Shock. It is early days for Sparkle and we have to give him time, but this Paris Eternal squad looks like it's going to heavily rely on XZ. So if they can shut XZ down, they can beat the Paris Eternal quite easily. I really do think that. So I would say a 3-1 for the Valiant. I honestly would. I think the Valiant have got enough to see past this Paris Eternal squad. And hey, guess what? That means Valiant are unbeaten this month. So this is going to be super duper interesting. And if Valiant can get that win, they will get the second spot in North America, because of the match we have at the end of these fixtures. So we'll talk about it in a minute. But first of all, it's the Atlanta Reign taking on Vancouver at 10 p.m. So this, I would expect to be Atlanta Reign getting the victory. I really, really would. There is scope this week for Vancouver to really put on a show, but Atlanta should have enough to see past them. Atlanta actually have a good chance of being one of the top 4 seeded teams in NA for the Summer Showdown. So Atlanta really need to get that win. And to get a top seed in North America would be actually fantastic for the Atlanta Reign. Considering the season they've had, they haven't lived up to expectations. They haven't been massively brilliant. And yeah, they've got a lot of teams breathing down their back, right? So Toronto, if they can beat Dallas, will be in the top 4 possibly. Florida, again, they're playing the Houston Outlaws, so they're possible top 3. Los Angeles Gladiators are a possible top 3, and they're playing the Washington Justice. So there's a lot of competition for that 4th spot in NA. But there is a possibility that Atlanta get it. So really what they need to do is they need to beat Vancouver. But not only do they need to beat Vancouver, they need to beat Vancouver well. They need to beat them 3-0. So I think the Atlanta Reign will pull it out of the bag and get a 3-0 victory over Vancouver. That's what I would say. But this is the match we've been waiting for months and months and months. The last match of the regular fixtures in June will be at midnight on the Monday, and it will be Philadelphia Fusion taking on the San Francisco Shock. Arguably 2 of the best teams we have in North America right now. They are joint first place in the North American standings for the Summer Showdown. They are both unbeaten. They both haven't lost a map in June. So that's got to change. Will this be close, or will it be the Shock? That is my question. I think the Shock are better than the Fusion. I really, really do. So the question is, can the Fusion make this close, or will the Shock run away with it? I think San Francisco Shock will be our number 1 seed in North America. I really don't see anyone who can dethrone them right now. Philadelphia Fusion, they could do it. And if they do it, that would be massive in terms of people's power rankings and people's predictions and people's judgment on how good this Fusion squad is. If they go and beat this San Francisco squad, then that will change things. And a lot of people will start, hyping this Fusion team up again. When it's the hype around the Philadelphia Fusion has kind of been dying down over the past couple of months. Because they looked good early season, but recently it's been more, are they that good? We're not totally sure, are we? They haven't been able to live with the top teams, and they got they lost 3-1 in the main melee to the Florida Mayhem. So, yeah, this is a very interesting one. Very interesting. I would go for a 3-1 win for the San Francisco Shock, which would mean that the San Francisco Shock would be the top place team in the league, in North America for the Summer Showdown. And yeah, that'll be super, super interesting. And that also would mean that the Los Angeles Valiant, providing they get a good win over the Paris Eternal, like I predicted, would get the 2nd place spot again. And therefore, we can no longer sleep on the Los Angeles Valiant, because that means they would have qualified in the top 4 for both the main melee and the Summer Showdown. So the Los Angeles Valiant are really turning up. And They're a little bit of a dark horse. I'm not gonna lie, they're a little bit of a dark horse. I think people should be worried about this Valiant squad. But there has been a fixture shoehorned onto the end of this week, according to the schedule on the Overwatch League website, and it's at 2 AM and on the Monday, and it's to be decided against to be decided. I think this is the Summer Showdown qualification match, which will be the 12th place team in North America versus the 13th place team. I can't confirm that, but I think that's what it is. So in that case, on current standings, that would be the Dallas Fuel taking on the Washington Justice, because both teams are unbeaten and they have the worst map differential compared to Boston. Obviously, that has scope to change. There are 3 teams that are currently yet to get a win on the board right now. That's Boston, Dallas, and Washington. And Paris are actually down there. So things could change. I would expect one of them to be Washington. I don't think they're going to get out of that somehow. Dallas really should get out of it, but who knows? You know, depends who they play, depends what mood Aero is in. Boston Uprising, again, could stay out of the way of those bottom-seeded teams, and they did it last time at their store, didn't they, when they beat the Los Angeles Gladiators, so I wouldn't be surprised if Boston do stay out of that bottom two. But I think that's what that match is. But I'm not going to put it on a video printer or anything, because I don't know, we don't know who it's going to be, and I don't know for sure that's what that match is. But that's what I would say right now. This is going to be a big, big week. It really, really is. Super interesting. It's going to nail down our standings for North America and APAC. It's going to nail down who's going to play who in the Summer Showdown that'll be coming in July. And obviously, we're going to see some cracking matches. Like New York, Guangzhou, Shanghai, Hangzhou. Hangzhou, London could also be very good. Seoul, Shanghai. Philadelphia Fusion versus the San Francisco Shock, quite obviously. Valiant versus Paris could be close. Vancouver versus Boston, the battle of the bottoms. You know, there's going to be some really interesting matches. And can Houston go toe-to-toe with the Florida Mayhem? I'm very interested to see that. This is going to be a super-duper interesting week. And of course, the elephant in the room is the fact that there's no hero pools. Any hero can be played. Echo, May, Doomfist. I don't know why I said Doomfist. I didn't mean... Brigitte, Diva, Sombra. They're all there. All 32 heroes can be played, so it's going to be super interesting to see what teams pick up and what teams are like, I don't know what to do. Probably Seoul. Seoul don't usually know what to do in the regular season. But I'm going to leave it here for this one. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. See you then.